can we get your thoughts on the Paddy and Dana podcast? Specifically, his comments on you and the MMA media. Cheers. Wow. Ross, thank you. It has been a while since we had a hot tag, and I appreciate it. And, if we were a different kind of show, I would probably save this question for either the end of the show to try to, rack up as many views as possible, or end of this segment. But, why delay what you all want to hear about? Let's do it at the very top. Hot tag, off the top rope. I appreciate it, my friend. I'm holding the string out here, and you gave me the hot tag, and that is very kind of you. So let us get into it. Wow, what a morning. What a day. I will gladly answer this question. So earlier today, I'm just getting ready. I'm having a good day, good morning. Truth be told, both of my boys are sick. Actually, right before I went live, my son showed me a pretty gnarly allergic reaction on his back. So I'm a little bit sad about that, but they'll be all right. They're young, they're strong, they're defiant. But overall, a pretty good day. Getting ready to do the show. And my old friend Pete Carroll sends me a text, and he says, "Hey man, I'm really sorry about, all the Paddy stuff." And I was like, "What are you talking about? Didn't see it. No idea what you're talking about." And he goes, "Oh man, well, here it is." And so I see this clip that is now making the rounds. At first was confused as to what it was, what platform, all that stuff. But I understand this is from Paddy's podcast. And he has Dana White on as a guest, his boss. And they're talking about me. And I listened to the clip. I watched the clip. And I will tell you, truth be told, been doing this now for a minute, as the kids like to say, 2006 to be exact, getting a little older, now in my 40s. There was a time when I knew if someone was talking about me, if I knew it was coming, or if I knew that there was something out there, or if I was watching something or listening to something, I would feel something in my chest. Like I would feel almost like my heart go into my gut. Like I would feel like shit. I would feel sad. I would feel depressed. No one wants to have people talk about them negatively, right? No one wants to have people shitting on them. No one wants someone in the public eye to be insulting them. It doesn't feel good. That's not why you get into this. And in my younger days, I used to have pretty thin skin, and luckily over time you develop thicker skin, and you develop a knack for letting things roll off your back. And so that's kind of, something that you have to kind of go through a bunch of stuff to get to that point. And so I watched this clip, and I see, like the text, and then I see, all right, now people are starting to tag me in the video clip on Twitter and all that stuff, Instagram. And I asked myself, sort of like a fighter before a big fight, we had someone recently tell us this, like, wow, I was shocked I wasn't nervous. Shocked I wasn't nervous. I was asking myself, why aren't you feeling anything here? And this is not, I'm not doing a gimmick here. I'm not, I actually legitimately asked myself, I checked in on myself. Why aren't you feeling anything here? Why aren't you fired up? Why aren't you feeling sick? Why aren't you feeling sad? Why aren't you feeling down? Why aren't you feeling depressed? And I came to this conclusion. Number one, as you all probably know by now, as a human being, as a person, forget promoter, forget businessman, forget any of that. As a human being, man to man, the respect that I have for Dana White, or perhaps lack thereof, non-existent. And I've said this before. I don't view him as a human. I just view him as an entity. I view him as the face of the organization that we talk about ad nauseum on this show and other shows. So hearing him say the same old things about me, the same old insults with no substance, with nothing really backing in, no factual backup, it is so tired. I'm so immune to it that I don't feel anything anymore. It's, this is grade 5 stuff. This is, oh, wow, he called me a name. Great. Don't feel anything. Don't feel fired up. Don't even get upset about it, because I've heard it before, and it's just the same old, same old. And for someone his age to be talking about anyone like that is, you could come up with your own conclusions there. But I honestly didn't feel anything from it. However, I then listened to Paddy, who, as you all know, have had a long-standing relationship with, and have never heard him, speak of me publicly like this before in the past. When I heard him say that, I was thinking, all right, well, why don't I feel a certain way about it? I said publicly in the past. Well, first of all, he has said some of these things to a degree in private to me, but never in public on a show. And I was wondering, all right, well, like why is he doing it now of all times? Why is he doing it right now? Well, you can probably come to the conclusion that he saved this material, this ammunition, if you will, because he's sitting in front of his boss and he's trying to curry favor with his boss. He's trying to, dare I say, get in his good graces, right? So I was like, all right, fair play, as I said. And as I've said in the past, or as they say, as I've said in the past, and as I said last year on this show when talking about the Brendan Schaub stuff, I honestly don't mind, and I don't get upset, and I don't get down when people call me a shit journalist, a bad host, a crappy, podcast guy, whatever, reporter, journalist. I don't mind that. I actually don't. What bothers me, though, is when people lie. That's what bothers me. I don't like when people lie. I don't like liars. And I said this last year about Brendan Schaub. Exact same thing. I don't care if you don't like me as a host. I don't care if you like someone else. I don't care if you are a fan of someone and not me, all that stuff. I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't like it when you lie. I don't like it when you make shit up. I don't like when you regurgitate the same old lies. That's when I get a little annoyed, right? And so here I am coming on this show, clear heart, clear mind, no problem. But I'd like to address some of the blatant lies that were told in that little exchange between one Paddy Pimblett and Dana White. And, I'm not going to go as low as they did by, calling me names and whatnot. Find that to be, as they put it, they were calling me a bunch of names. Felt like a bit of a deflection there. I'm not going to go there. And I'm not even going to go as far as to like show you guys every single text message exchange. But I do think that I'm in, I'm in the right to show some receipts. I do think that I'm in the right to prove that what they said was a lie, prove that their timeline of events were inaccurate, and prove that the things that they were saying about me were actually 100% not true. And so without further ado, I do believe that we have some of the audio because I think it's important to get this as accurate and as correct as possible, because unlike Dana White and unlike Paddy Pimblett, and unlike any fighter out there from the past, from the present, from the future, and this ain't the first time someone has had an issue with me. This ain't the last time someone has had an issue. I can assure you it's going to happen again. Those who have been following the career know that it's happened, and also know that the vast majority of the people that have had issues with me at the end of the day end up, reconciling for whatever reason. They don't have to deal in the currency that is the truth. They could come out and say whatever they want. They can make up shit all day long and they don't have to answer for it. I have to deal in the truth, because if I'm not accurate, if I'm not right, you won't watch me. You won't watch my shows. You won't listen to me. You won't follow me. You won't read my stuff. For example, as recently as this past Monday, right? Hopefully I've curried enough favor and goodwill with the audience when they know that there are multiple reports out there which are saying the opposite of what I'm saying, TJ Dillashaw retiring. You believe me because I deal in the truth. And the truth means a lot to me. That's the reason why I got into all of this, to, be a truth teller. And so when I hear people lying about me, if they just would have sat there and insulted me, I wouldn't have really cared or said anything. I mean, Lord knows I'm not sitting here and responding to every single insult, but the truth is what I'm all about. So let's get into it, Frank, if you can. You have the audio. This is courtesy of Paddy Pimblett's podcast and a conversation with Dana White, which I believe dropped last night, this morning, somewhere in the last 24 hours. Here's the conversation, and I'm going to respond with the truth to the lies.
I hate all these journalists, especially the ones what earn off us, know what I mean? Like Ariel Helwani in particular, like he loves earning money off fighters. Yeah. Like every decent job he's had, he's been sacked from.
All right, let's pause it there. Let's pause it there, Frank. He loves earning money off of fighters. You'll hear this from time to time, and I'm not really quite sure what that means. How am I profiting off of fighters? In a moment, you'll hear them talking about clicks and YouTube views and things of that nature. Let me speak directly to the camera right here. In my entire career, dating back to 2006, I have not earned a single penny from YouTube off of any of the MMA stuff that I put out there. And I stress MMA, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Not a single penny. This show, I don't earn a single dime off of any views from this show, any downloads off this show. This is the truth. You can either believe me or you can't. And if you don't, go ask the CEO of Vox Media, Jim Bankoff. Dating back to when I was working for AOL Fan House in 2009, and this show started, and it was called Fight House Radio, and then the MMA Hour 3 weeks later, I have not earned a single extra dime. I've never gotten a bonus. I have never gotten a dime because a show did 100,000 views, 10,000 views, 1,000,000 views. When we have Izzy in studio and it got like 800, I didn't earn a single penny more, less. It's all, I have a contract. And I make the exact same amount, and I have never even gotten a bonus. I've never had a great year and someone's like, because your views were X high or you did better than we projected. I've never even profited in that way off of anything I've done with Vox, off of anything I've done with ESPN, off of anything I've done with Fox, off of anything I did with MMA Rated, off of anything I did with Versus. Never profited a dime off of a single show. Right now, I'm making the same amount that my contract states. I will not make a penny more, a penny less. It'll be the exact same. It's a 3-year deal. It's up in June of 2024. And that has been the same throughout my entire career. There have been only 2 times in my career that I put something out there and asked people to pay for it. 2 times in my career. The first time, and I'll put all of these together, the first time was when I came out with the merch. Back in the day, it was Helwani Knows shirts. Recently, it was Helwani, and then it was Thug Nose. I'm going to put those all together. And why am I putting those all together? Because the 3 times that I've ever come out with merch, every single penny that came to me as a result of those transactions, you guys buying the merch, I donated to the Colorectal Cancer Association of Canada, a charity that my father-in-law runs because he is a cancer survivor. I did not earn a single penny off of Helwani Nose shirts back in the day, the Thug Nose shirts from last year, the Helwani shirts that we did with Breaking Tea. Not a single dime from any of that, all right? That's the first time that I've ever asked you guys for any money. The second time is when I did the Substack stuff last year. Now with Substack, I had a 1-year deal with them to write stuff. They paid me X amount to write on their platform. And part of the deal was, all right, a certain amount of stuff is going to be behind a paywall. And, we're going to make 90% off of that, and you're going to make 10% off of that, right? And then if you want to continue in year 2, you're going to make 90%, we're going to make 10, but we're not paying you anything, all right? All the money from my share of those subscriptions, every single penny went to the Colorectal Cancer Association of Canada. Didn't make a single penny. And now you see in year 2, not charging anyone for anything. In fact, I felt uncomfortable throughout it all, even though I was giving it all to charity. I don't want to ask any of you for anything. So I'm not profiting off of any of you, and certainly not profiting. The reason I'm bringing this up is not profiting off of any content that I'm putting out regarding fighters or fighting, making anything off of YouTube views, clicks. I do have my own YouTube channel that I resurrected last year. If you go to the content on there, all of it is non-MMA related. There's a few shorts that are up there. You can't monetize shorts. Everything is sports-related interviews. You can see the views aren't great. I'm doing it out of a labor of love. I'm talking to Kenny Mayne, Michelle Beadle, Brooke Burke, et cetera, right? So that's my own little YouTube thing. I can assure you I ain't making anything off of that. Just go look at the views. They ain't great. But as far as the MMA stuff, because he's saying profiting off of fighters, right? As far as the MMA stuff is concerned, don't make a single penny off of the MMA Hour doing X, Y, Z. Don't make a single penny off of any of my stuff in the past. That's a fact. And you can go reach out to any single person that I've ever worked with in the past and ask them, and they would tell you that's the case. Nothing in my contract. So again, another regurgitated old lie that I feel like, once again, I have to address, because I feel like this was sort of his, this was his big gripe, right? Oh, I'm making money off of fighters, and that's not cool, right? You're making money off of fighters, and how dare you talk about their pay? Why don't you pay them, right? We're going to get to that in a moment. Well, I'm not making any money off of fighters. Now, if you want to say, oh, I'm making money off of doing this show, yeah, of course. Like, what did you guys think? For 15 years, how was I going to provide for my family? Like, this idea that, oh, journalists make money. Yeah, we make money. Of course. Well, I mean, isn't that the whole point? Do people say the same about, I don't know, broadcast, like, oh, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, they make money. They're profit. Like, that's their job. The same way you could be making money off of being a promoter or a fighter or an author or a doctor. Oh, you're making money off of people having cancer. Everyone has a job. Everyone has a role. So yeah, of course, if this is some big revelation that I get paid to do the show, I mean, I don't know what world you live in. Of course, journalists make money. Of course, we get paid to show up and cover things and talk about things. Otherwise, why the hell would I be doing it? I would hope that you guys would think that I'm a super dumb guy if I've been doing this for 15 years and not making any money off of it. But that money is a contract that has nothing to do with this show doing well, this show doing well. It's all just a set deal. You show up, you do the show, you go home. That's it. But yes, newsflash, breaking news, Frank, play the music. I get paid to do this show. Wow, what a revelation. But I can assure you of this, I don't get an extra dime if Izzy's sitting in that chair or Connor's sitting in that chair or Patty's sitting in that chair or anyone's sitting in that chair. Do you see the difference? Do you understand the difference? Do you understand how dumb this is? All right, let's continue. And go to the top for a second, because there was a second thing there that I wanted to address, if you don't mind, Frank.
I hate all these journalists, especially the ones what earn off us. Know what I mean? Like Ariel Helwani in particular. Like, he loves earning money off fighters.
Yeah,
like,
addressed it.
Every decent job he's had, he's being sacked from.
Pause it right there. Every decent job, I like Paddy, and I still do till this day, because I think he's a fun guy with a great style, and it's the reason why I was, attracted to him as a fighter back in the day as well, when he was in Cage Warriors, and very few people were talking about him. And I don't want to pat on the back for that. It's just the truth. The same reason why people are interested in him now is the same reason why I was interested in him back in the day. I expect more from him than to regurgitate the same old bullshit that the likes of Brendan Shaw put out. Got sacked from every decent job that I have. Let's talk about the jobs that I've had. The first ever job that I ever got paid for to cover MMA was in 2008 for MMArated.com. The OG fans will know that. That endeavor lasted 6 months. Then they sold the company, and I went on my merry way. So, I wasn't sacked from it or anything like that. But if you want to put that as an L for me, that the whole company was sold, Wasserman Media owned the thing and sold all their sites to another company called Sportnet. I'm really going into the weeds here. If you want to put that on me, put that on me. Put that as an L on me. The next job that I had was with AOL Fan House, which then bought MMA Fighting. I started with them in 2009, and I went all the way up to 2018 with them when I left to go to ESPN. Didn't get sacked from that one, not once. And so that was a good endeavor. In the midst of that, we had the Fox experiment, which I was there for 5 years. And then, of course, after Rory McDonald came on the show and the UFC had complained enough to the powers that be about me, 2016, I got the call from Fox that I was being let go because they were unhappy, the UFC was, with me being a part of the family. They had enough of me. You want to put that one on me? Fine. Sure. Not because of my performance, not because of my content, not because I got things wrong. But if you want to put that on me, I'll take the L there. No problem. Of course, we get to 2018 when I decide to leave here and I go to ESPN. 3-year deal with ESPN. Decide at the end of the 3-year deal to leave on my own. And Dana regurgitates the same bullshit line because he takes a lot of pride in this, because you have to understand this about Dana White. When I got hired by ESPN, when I signed, before the public knew about it, he knew about it. I signed with them in early April of 2018. He found out in around early May, and he freaked out. He freaked out. He went all the way to the top of the company and tried to get them to renege on the deal. That's the kind of person that he is. Tried to get them to end the deal before it started, before it even became public, because he didn't want me Finally, he made it to the big time. Finally, he made it to the worldwide leader. He didn't want me there. He couldn't stomach the idea that I would be there. He got rid of me at Fox. And now here's his big moment. He made it to the worldwide leader. And look who's there, his old pal. So he tried to end it. Luckily for me, the good people at ESPN said, no, we're going to honor this deal and we want him around. Every single step of the way while I was at ESPN for 3 years, he tried to mess with me. He tried to feed things to Brett so that I would look bad. He tried to tell managers not to have their clients come on my show. One, as you know, abided by it. He tried to tell managers that if they gave me information or talked about fights and all that stuff, that they would get cut off. Obviously, that never happened. Tried to do many things over time and even tried to tell the powers that be that I was hurting the pay-per-view sales, that I was being too negative, that I wasn't covering the sport in a fair, honest, and positive way. Well, what happened? My great colleagues at ESPN were actually tasked to put together a highlight reel of all the positive things that I was doing covering the sport. Appearances on SportsCenter, my show, radio, all that stuff. They had to put together a highlight reel to say, actually, no, what you're saying is inaccurate. He's actually doing a great job of covering the sport. He's actually not being a negative Nancy. He's not being, a guy who's hurting pay-per-view sales. He's actually carrying the flag, even though you guys are putting roadblocks in his way. And despite those roadblocks, what were the opportunities that I got in addition to the MMA stuff that I wasn't even hired to do? Well, got to do NBA games, huge. Got to do E60, huge. Got to do Outside the Lines, huge. Got to do multiple SportsCenter appearances, all that stuff and more. Got to do ESPN radio, had the shows around the pay-per-views, all those opportunities. So even despite all the roadblocks, the belly aching, the complaining, more and more opportunities were coming my way. Even until the very end. My final weeks there was still doing NBA. May of 2021 was still doing NBA. Even towards the end, even with him saying, oh, I hate this guy. I don't want this guy. Still getting opportunities. In addition to that, show on Monday. In the end, it was the DC show. Show on Wednesday with Chael. Podcast on Wednesday. 3 different MMA shows in addition to all that other stuff. Push came to shove. End of my time there in 2021. I decided to walk away. They offered me multiple deals. I decided to walk away. But they're regurgitating the same old bullshit. And I can tell you may be at home right now rolling your eyes. I have no idea what people are saying. But I have to defend myself. Because if I don't defend myself, these same guys are going to keep regurgitating the same old bullshit about me. And if you don't believe me that ESPN wanted me to stick around, take it from my good friend Andrew Marchand of the New York Post, who tweeted this on June 6th of 2021, a statement on Ariel Helwani. Quote, "We thank Ariel for his many contributions to ESPN's MMA coverage and beyond. We had hoped to have him continue in that role and made him an offer to remain with ESPN. He chose to explore new opportunities and we wish him the best." End quote. So if you don't want to believe me, you may want to believe Andrew. And if you don't want to believe Andrew, you may want to believe ESPN. So it's the same old tired bullshit that they want to believe in. I could have easily taken that deal. And I'm pretty sure, without knowing everyone's business, I would have been the highest paid MMA journalist had I taken that deal. I didn't want to take that deal because I was miserable. Not so much because of the people there. I had no problems with them. And in fact, many, as I was leaving and told them that I wasn't sticking around, confided in me about how, awful it is to work with the UFC and how awful it is to work with Dana White. And they were sad to see me go because they felt like I was the one guy who, was doing things close to the right way, if you want to put it that way. I wanted to go because I was miserable working with some of the people there. I wanted to go because my interviews at times were getting edited. I wanted to go because I was being told not to talk about certain things. And I wanted to go back to just covering the sport the way in which I covered the sport before I went there. I wanted to be myself. I didn't want to feel silenced. I didn't want to feel stifled. I didn't want to feel any of that. And so I said, you know what? It was a great experience, 3 years. Let's move on. And let's see what else is out there. And so again, the 2 things he said at the top there, lie. And these will be regurgitated throughout the clip, but I think it's important to note that everything that was said was a lie, including those 2 things. We shall continue now, Frank.
And now he's just a biased content creator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And he hates on you, hates on the UFC, even hates on me now.
Yeah.
And it proper annoys.
He's just a biased content creator. By the way, this use of the term content creator, is this supposed to be an insult? Is this supposed to be an insult? Is this like a new thing that the kids are saying? Because, yeah, I'm creating content. Another word for that, I guess, would be producer. Another word for that, I guess, would be host. I don't know. I've been trying to create content since 2006. If you're going to try to insult me by calling me a content creator and say that I'm not a journalist, I don't give a fuck. Great. That's the worst thing you could say about me? Awesome. Yes, I'm a content creator and pretty damn proud of it. And yes, I've been on YouTube long before any of y'all were on YouTube putting shows out there, including yourself, Paddy, putting your own show out there. Who cares? Yeah, okay. I'm a content creator. Now I'm biased. Biased against the UFC. How am I biased against the UFC? 90% of the guests, if not more, on this show are UFC fighters. I talk about big 282, big 281, big this, big that. Is it because at times, just like any other proper journalist, you talk about the good and the bad? I talk sometimes about the bad and not just, lap up all the stuff that they give us without questioning anything? Yeah, I guess you could say I'm biased. If that's what you mean by being biased, the fact that I don't just say everything. For example, on Monday, I do believe it was a UFC official that told some journalists that TJ didn't retire. Well, good thing I have other sources that I talk to, right? Good thing I know other people in the sport. Good thing I actually know what it's like to report, right? So if I just relied on UFC content and ate it up, yeah, I'd be sitting here and just talking about, the Power Slap League. But I'm not. That's not what you want from me. And that's not what I want as a fan of other shows. I tune into Bill's podcast, to Nick's podcast, to other shows to hear the truth, to hear the good and the bad, not just positive. This is great. This is great. This is great. This is great. No, I don't do that because that's not what you want. That's not what I want. And so how am I biased against the UFC? I don't know. Am I biased against Dana in that I come on here and I talk about personal things? Do I talk about his family life? Do I talk about his kids? No, I don't talk about any of that. I talk about business dealings. I show you clips when, he's saying that the Derek Minner fight, nothing sketchy there. Yeah, I'll show you that. But I'll also talk about how great this card is, how great this fight is, how big this fight. Come on. Same old tired bullshit. Biased against Paddy. Show me where I've been biased against Paddy since he, cut me out, since he stopped talking to me, since he flew off the handle, right? And I'll get to that in a moment. Show me where I've been biased against Paddy Pimblett. In fact, I think I said his last fight was his best performance. In fact, I think I said after it came out in March that he was underpaid, I was defending him, saying how much he deserved to get more, giving him props. Show me where I've been biased against Paddy. Show me where I've talked shit against Paddy. Dating back to, I don't know, when he was in Cage Warriors. And I'll say this, yeah, the one thing you can say about me, maybe I talk too much about the UFC. Maybe I don't talk enough about the LFAs. Maybe I don't talk enough about the KSWs. Maybe I don't talk about, the quote unquote regional promotions. It's because there's enough UFC, Bellator, PFL stuff out there. If there's one guy that you could say I've been talking about long before he was even on the UFC radar, it's Paddy Pimblett. That's what's so crazy about this whole story. This guy was on the show back in the day when he was several fights away from a UFC fight. There aren't a lot of those guys. And I'll say, you could say I jumped on the Izzy bandwagon late. I got him after his UFC debut. I jumped on the Conor bandwagon late, right before his UFC debut. You could say that about the vast majority of the people that come on this show. Not him. I was talking about him well before he ever made it to the UFC because I was interested in him, because he had this magnetic personality, because he was fun. He had a cool name, a cool look, a cool accent, a fun style. Back when no one was talking about him, at least not on shows like this. And again, this isn't me trying to pat my back. This is me trying to say I was talking about this guy in a positive light from the beginning all the way till even after he started to have this issue with me. In fact, I believe back in 2018 when he was in studio, we had this little cheeky exchange. Do you get the sense that even though you haven't fought in the UFC, that people know you in the gym? They recognize you?
Americans don't, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, Americans
You only get
don't
love on
really.
this show, huh? None of the Americans have jumped on the bandwagon, right? I feel like they're a bit late on this one. Yeah. Wasn't making any money off of that interview either. But enjoyed talking to him, enjoyed having him on, was happy for his success. Pull up the tweets. I'm not going to pull up every single one. When he got signed, when he got this, when he got that. Where's the hate? Show me where the hate is. Show me where I'm biased against him, where I'm rooting against him, where I'm saying that he's overhyped. Show me where I'm saying that he's getting easy matchups. Show me where I'm saying that, because that's things that other people are saying. Show me where I'm saying that. You won't find it. Keep going.
Annoys me because he uses fighters for clicks, uses fighters to make money, and then tries to have the audacity to talk about the UFC and yourself, saying that they don't.
Uses fighters for clicks. Again, I don't want to regurgitate what I just said at the beginning, but it's utterly ridiculous. That would be like, hey, Seth Wickersham of ESPN, you used Andrew Luck, that big expose, that big story, that big profile that you posted yesterday. You used him for clicks, which they put behind the ESPN Plus paywall. No, you freaking do the job. You do the job, you cover. That's our job. Our job is to cover people. If you think that we are profiting, you think I'm profiting off of Teofimo Lopez today? You think I'm profiting off of Chris Cyborg? You think I'm profiting off of Sabatello or stuff? No, it's utterly ridiculous. And even if I had my own YouTube channel, like Bisping, like Cormier, like Chael, like Paddy, it still wouldn't be a bad thing, by the way. A lot of people told me when I left ESPN that I should have done that, like a McAfee, right? I didn't even do that. I don't make money off of the YouTube channel. I don't make money off of any of these interviews. I have a contract. I sit here, whether I'm talking on the nose, this stuff, anything else, it's the same contract. So I'm not doing exactly what he is saying that I'm doing. I'm doing my job. The same way someone gets paid to write in a newspaper, write for a magazine, write a book. If you don't understand the concept of journalism, I don't know what to tell you. And the beautiful irony of telling a promoter that a journalist is profiting off of fighters when a promoter's job is to quite specifically profit off of fighters. The irony there. I'm like, what am I watching? What is this bizarre world? Like if he was sitting there talking to some other guy, I'd be like, all right, there's his crazy point. It's not true. He's talking to a promoter whose sole job, purpose is to profit off of fighters. And dare I say, profit way too much off of fighters. Sole job. Sole job is to promote events to profit off of fighters. Sole job. The reason why you have that mansion, those cars, the fancy clothes, keto diets, all that stuff is because you profited off of fighters. You actually put on fights, had people pay for them, pay for the fights. Unlike how I have fighters on here to just talk to them. Imagine that, me watching someone tell a promoter who has one of the worst reputations of over profiting on fighters that I'm the one at fault because I'm profiting off of fighters. When again, as I've just mentioned to you multiple times, don't get a single penny off of any of this stuff. Please continue.
Don't pay the fighters enough. Get your dough out, Ariel. You know what I mean? Start paying people for these interviews. What you make thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds on.
Pause it right there. Get your dough out, Ariel. You want me to pay for interviews? That's not journalism. And we may have a difference of opinion on what I do as opposed to what you think I do. I ain't paying for shit. That's not how this works. You don't pay for coverage. That's not how this works. Does Joe Rogan pay his guests? Did Oprah pay her guests? Did Larry King pay his guests? Do the Smartless guys, do they pay their? No, that's not how this works. That's not how this works. Now, if you're upset about the fact that you come on my show and I'm getting paid to do the show, well, I could then in turn say the same thing. I'm upset that I have to go to your fights and you get paid more than me when you fight. It's stupid. I would never say that because that's ridiculous. We all have a job. We all have a purpose in all of this. And I don't get a single extra dollar off of any of it. I don't pay. The moment I start paying for interviews, the moment I start actually paying people to come on shows or paying even for their transportation or anything like that, cut me off. Throw me in the back. Dig the ditch for me, throw me in there. I ain't going to do that. I will never do that. That's not what you do. That's unethical. That's not proper journalism. That's not what I believe in. That's not what I was taught. So, no, I ain't going to do that. And if that bothers you, then fine. Don't come off the show. Don't come on the show. And I will tell you this, never, actually, I'll save this. Keep going.
I know that now because I make money off YouTube. So I know how much he earns off
Making
YouTube,
money off the
off
Dana
all
interview.
his interviews, what he does. And you're doing it for exposure. No, you're not.
Pause
you're
that.
Doing it.
I have never in my life, he said this, that I tell fighters, come on the show to do it for exposure. Never in my, any fighter out there, tell the world if I've ever told you to come on the show to get exposure, to get the rub. I've never said that. I will never say that. I ask you to come on. You don't want to come on. I move on with my day. I ask a manager, a coach, a PR, any PR person, any manager, any fighter. I beg of you to show me where I've ever said, come on this show and I'll give you exposure. Even a big name, a guy coming off a loss, anyone. Never have said that, never will say that. I am not that insane, egomaniacal where I would tell anyone, come on my show and you'll get exposure. No, you got a million places where you could go. I would love it if I could talk to people all day long. Love doing that. I've never said that to anyone. I don't think that highly of myself. Keep going.
To put money in your pocket, Ariel, you little rodent, lads.
Woo! I just sat back and let that go. I didn't want to interrupt.
Pause it right there. He wants to call me names and all this shit, and this is what someone does when they're like grasping, when they're just trying to hit me low. I refuse to do that because, like I said, long relationship with Paddy back in the day, no idea, truly like where the vitriol comes from. But I'm not going to insult him. I'm not going to use names, and I'm not going to do that to Dana White, despite the repeated name calling. Let's keep going.
He's a massive sack of is what he is.
Exactly.
He's the biggest piece of all time, and I couldn't have said it better.
Pause it. Dana will keep using those words, just like a kid in the 8th grade will just use insults because they've got nothing else. He will use those from now until I'm dead. He will use those words time and again because he has nothing else. The same reason if you ask him, or the same way you ask him, you ask Ali Abdelaziz, like you saw right here on the show, they don't have an issue with me. It's just this thing that they can't control me. They can't get rid of me. I'm like this gnat that won't get away. I'm like this little bug that just won't die. They can't get rid of me, despite the fact that they want to tell themselves that they've gotten rid of me, or that I'm a piece of shit, or I'm this and that. The real estate in the brain is so immense, they have to keep telling themselves this. They have to keep convincing themselves this, that I won't disappear. Oh my gosh, he's such a piece of shit. He's such a loser. But they don't actually give you facts. They don't actually give you any reasons. They don't actually give you any examples of things that I've done to earn those insults, right? To be worthy of those insults. It's just, I don't lick their balls. I don't kiss their ass. I don't, lap up everything they said. Dana thought that I was going to be something else. Dana thought that I would be his, personal PR guy. He's got enough of those right now, and he found those people, and God bless. It's a great way to earn a living. He thought that I was going to be that guy. He wanted me to be that guy. He didn't know that, I just wanted to cover the sport, the good, but also sometimes the bad and sometimes the ugly. And that bothers him. And it bothers him that he couldn't get rid of me at ESPN. And it bothers him that when he got rid of me at Fox, he couldn't truly get rid of me. And it bothers him that when he banned me, he couldn't truly ban me. And it bothers him that I'm still here doing this show and doing stuff for The Ringer and doing stuff for BetMGM and doing stuff for Real Sports and other things in the works. And that I was sidelined. It bothers him. So he has to say that I'm a sack of shit. Let's keep going.
When I was in New York for the MSG card
this is the good stuff.
Last year, he wanted me to do an interview with him. And I had a paid interview that day. And he wanted me to really let go of that paid interview to do an interview with him.
Right.
For BT Sport, what he's getting paid for.
Pause it right there, Frank. So now let's get to New York. This is where everything went sideways. And this is where I think it's important to really bring out the receipts. Because what he just said right there is an absolute bold-faced lie. A 1,000% lie. What you just heard right there was a lie. So, let it run just a little bit, Frank, because I don't want to talk about something and then it airs after. Let it run just another beat.
And he said, oh, no, that's me journalist integrity. You're not a journalist no more.
Far from it.
You're
from it.
You're a content creator, Ariel. You're not a journalist. Stop lying. You're very biased in what you do and what you
Pause
say.
It. Stop lying. I wish these dudes would take their own advice. All right. So Paddy Pimblett won his UFC debut in September of 2021. You recall it was a great scene at the Apex. On October 8th of 2021, he announced this deal with Barstool. Now you could say like, we saw, people talk, you're going to get paid to do media. You should be pissed off about that. You've been having Paddy on your show 2016. I remember having Paddy on, I think it was in 2019. I put him at the end of my audio podcast, and TST, my producer at the time, I'm sorry, TST, I don't mean to throw you under the bus. You're like, why are you having this Cage Warriors guy on? The downloads are going to go, the listenership is going to go. I was like, no, I like this guy. And he was coming off a loss and I wanted to, give him some shine. So again, talking about him, invested in him, backing him, reporting on him, all that stuff. So he gets a big deal from Barstool. I text him via WhatsApp, congrats on Barstool. That's amazing. Well played, fella. speaking the lingo, trying to be cool. You would think maybe I'm upset about this, right? Oh, this is a bad sign of things to come. No, happy for the guy because he's getting paid by Barstool. Happy for any fighter who gets paid. Happy for any fighter that's earning extra money because Lord knows they all deserve it and then some. He writes back, thank you very much, big man. October 27th, 2021 is the next message right here. It's the next message, October 27, 2021. Paddy sends me a voice note. This is what the voice note said.
Yo, the big fella. What's going down, Ariel? Just thought I'd let you know, lad, if you wanted to say hi or do anything with a man. I'll be in NYC in November. I think I'm going to be there from the 3rd to the 6th. And then I'll be coming back again on the 17th or the 18th. And then be coming back to Liverpool on the 23rd. So I'm about in New York, 2 separate occasions, just in case you want to see your mate. You know what I'm saying?
October 27th. That's Paddy Pimblett sending me a voice note saying, hey, I'm going to be in New York if you want to do anything. I didn't reach out to him. I didn't ask him. He's saying, if you want to say hello or do anything together, right? I obviously understood that to be an interview or some sort of media thing. I write back, that would be amazing. I'd love to have you in studio on the show. Cool. I also asked them in here, are you vaccinated? That was a rule that we had back in the day. Sorry for asking. I just have to because of the NYC building policy. If not all good, I have another idea. He wrote, yeah, I'm vaccinated. I'm not one of those anti-vax dickheads. I'm sorry for having to read this to you guys. But again, what he just told was a lie, and that annoys me. Then I write back, good man. Want to come in studio? When do you get in on the 3rd? Then he says, I'm coming from San Diego, all that. I say, how about Monday, November 21st? He writes back, I'll speak to Graham, as I'll be with him most of the time. Graham is his longtime manager, Graham Boylan, also promoter for Cage Warriors. Didn't hear back. That's October 28th, November 3rd. I write back, hey, matey, any word on the visit? He writes back, I'm in NYC now. Ariel, got something with Barstool and Howlerhead tomorrow on a podcast Friday morning. You'd have to message Graham and see what time I've got, as I don't know everything myself. You know what I'm like. No problem. I wrote no problem, la, trying to be cheeky. He said, your man, I'm learning the lingo. Haha, that you are, big man. So I take that message and I go to Graham. As you can see there, he's telling me I got this. I got that. All right. So we go to Graham, my old friend Graham Boylan. November 4th, same day. Hello, Graham. Hope all is well. Paddy told me he's in NYC this week, but also later in the month. He told me to check in with you if it's possible to have him in studio for the MMA Hour on a Monday or Wednesday. Cheers. Hey, bud. I'm good, thanks. Yes, we are in NYC now. We leave after the fights. Back end of the month, but again, it's Friday, Saturday, gone early hours, Sunday morning. Then I write back, when you come back, any Monday, Wednesday in there? No, it's Friday, Saturday. What are the days for the next trip, I ask? Maybe I can do something with him for BT Sport on the Friday. If free, he referenced BT Sport. So now I get this message from Graham. Paddy has a lot of quote unquote, as he puts it, paid booking requests right now. If BT want to put a budget forward, we can look to get something scheduled. Otherwise, he's got to take the paid work available to him. So I read that like, all right, you guys don't want to do anything unless I'm paying you. But again, that's just not what I do. If other companies are doing it, God bless, but that's just not what I do. So I write back, a simple no would have been fine. Been around a long time, as you know. First time anyone has ever said this to me, quite insulting, to be honest with you. Nate Diaz, Nick Diaz, John Jones, Conor McGregor, GSP, name any single fighter that has been a big name in this sport. No one has ever even hinted, insinuated, made a reference to getting paid. At their peak, at their highest, at their apex, no one has even asked, joked, hinted, anything to getting paid. And now I'm getting this. How do you think I'm supposed to feel? One fight in, all those years, when no one was talking, reporting, and now I'm saying, hey, we got paid things unless you guys want to put together a budget for an interview. All the WWE stuff, no one has ever asked me to get paid, brought it up, joked about it, even been like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, not even for a millisecond. And I'm getting this. And I'm getting this. I write later to him, same message. For the record, I had no idea he was coming in. He reached out to me to set something up. They reached out to me. I didn't reach out to them. They reached out to me. So what I think in retrospect was, hey, let's see if Ariel will pay us for an interview. I even sent him a screen grab of my conversation. He writes back, what's the relevance of what you just sent me? I write back, you were telling me he'd be down to potentially do an interview for payment when he reached out to me first? You don't see how that's weird? Forget I asked. He writes back, I'm telling you, I have a ton of paid bookings for the kid. Great. I write back, I'm telling you, they don't do that. I don't do that. He writes back, I don't recall asking you to pay. I don't recall asking you to pay. You said it was for BT. Yeah? I said, you're asking me to ask BT. I do work for BT. You think I would go to BT and say, hey, you should pay this guy? No, of course not. That's unethical. I said, I have been in the game a long time. LOL at yourself, pal. You're making good money from BT. What the fuck is this? I'm actually not. I don't even have a contract with them anymore. Of all the deals that I have, by the way, to get super inside, a little unclassy-like, if you will, the least amount of money that I make from anyone is BT. But I do it because I like them. And I primarily was hired to do UFC stuff for them, but guess what happened after my first UFC thing? Someone got upset about it. Now you know why I only do WWE stuff for them, which is fine. I love the WWE stuff. It's all good, but now you know. I write back, all good, no hard feelings. Much respect to Paddy. I hope he gets paid sincerely. That was my last message. Thanks for explaining to me how media works, Ariel, he gets. I would never have figured that out alone. Greatly appreciated, and thank you for your understanding. So I'm like, all right. So you guys tried to get paid. Go back to Paddy. And I tell him, I always shoot straight with you, my man. This is insulting to me. If you are too busy, that's fine. But to insinuate payment for an interview is something no one has ever asked me from day one. I send him all the screen grabs. Insulting, he writes back, what the fuck have I done? Graham books my shit now. I don't know what my schedule is. That's why I tell people to message Graham. Never did before, ever. Ever. Every interview I ever did was through Paddy himself. And with him, lad, I'm on the same page as him. No matter what, he's my manager. He gets me paid. All right, all good. So then I write back, so you don't do interviews now unless you get paid? Or is it just for this trip? I'm confused by that. No, not if Graham says so. As I said, I do as I'm told by him. He's never done me wrong. I'm very busy these next few days. Got Howlerhead tonight, Barstool podcast. All good, mate. No sweat, I write back. Again, they reached out to me. So whatever Graham says, that's what I'm down with. Sounds good. Cool fella. I leave it at that. That's November 4th. The next day, and I'm feeling some sort of way about this. I'm feeling like a little bit like, wow, I can't believe this happened. The next day, I'm on Pat McAfee's show. And in the interview with Pat, I said, hey, Pat, has anyone ever asked you for payment? Like, I was a little bit bummed about this. Like, geez. Has anyone ever asked you for payment? He's like, no way. I would never do that. All right. I just wanted to know. Never mention Paddy, never mention Graham, never mention anyone. Little did I know, at the same time as all this was going down, on Graham's Instagram, he's posting a message to the fighters about they need to start getting paid. We have that. There it is. This happened at the same time. I didn't know that. You know why I don't know that? Because I don't follow him. But this happened at the same time on November 4th, almost simultaneously, almost to the minute. He posts this. Dear fighters, in today's digital world, one that has serious commercial value for hits, traffic, views, likes, you need to know your value. There's a time period in your career when you have to do all the podcasts and interview requests. It's part of your brand development. The exposure is required to help build your brand. The same stuff that they were making fun of me, that supposedly that I say to people, he's saying you need to go on shows for your exposure. All right. But he continues, there comes a time as you grow, develop your brand and following that you should request to get paid for your time when booked for any podcasts or interviews. He posts this at the same time. I didn't know that. All right, great. Way to incriminate yourself. People, being the smart ones that they are online, put 2 and 2 together. And when I said that on the very popular Pat McAfee show, they were like, oh, wait, Ariel's saying this about getting paid. Paddy's manager is talking about payment. Also, that day on their story, they were kind of like hyping up, oh, this guy. They put 2 and 2 together. I never backed it. I never talked about it. I never confirmed it. Nothing like that. So it's the next day. It's November 5th. Weigh-ins. I get this message. This is the next message in the conversation. This is from Paddy. Lad, you're a cheeky cunt chatting shit about me like I asked you for money. Don't even ask me for an interview again, you piece of shit. Showed me your true colors. This is at 9:36 p.m. Eastern. Next day, November 5th. What? When did I say that? Got people chatting about me on Twitter because of something you've said, making me out to be some cunt. I write back, I never uttered your name. What are you talking about? Are you serious? Whatever, lad. I thought you were sound. This is a very bad sort of like reenactment of his. I don't want to do the voice. I write back, this is insanity. And I write back, yeah, I thought so too, referring to I thought I was sound. I've been sound since 2015. Go listen to what I said before you accuse me and call me names. Never said your name, never said Graham's name. Shame you'd believe people on Twitter over me. He writes back, I'll be honest, I haven't listened. I've just been tagged in plenty of tweets with people calling me this and that like I asked for money. People was mentioning it to me at the weigh-ins. So I say, you of all people should know they are liars trying to stir shit. Show me where I said your name. Now I can't, if you want to fault me for bringing this up to Pat, had you guys not put out that statement, no one would have ever known. But they put 2 and 2 together. What do you want me to do about that? You guys put out the statement. I write back, I never said your name. That's a fact. I've been having you on my show since 2015. I am sound. I'm the same old guy. And you're going to attack me like this based off what? People on Twitter? Absolute insanity. Go ask those hacks to show you proof. I'll listen to it, but even if you haven't, everyone is on me saying, have you seen what Ariel said about you? Well, what the fuck do you want me to do about it? Everyone calls me a Zionist prick. You're going to believe, the people who call me a dirty rat Jew as well? Like what all of a sudden, Mr. Anti-Social Media is going to believe what all these people on Twitter are going to say? I write back, either you believe me or not, all good if you don't want to. What I said was for the first time in 15 years of doing this job, I was asked to pay for an interview. That's it. Never said a name. Never even hinted at who it came from. Never even commented on it. Left it at that. And that's true. That happened. And that's fine. But when the week settled, I was going to circle back with you about it because it really bummed me out. And now you attack me like this and call me names? For you to believe these asses before coming to me is absurd. You don't want to talk to me again, fine. I hope you get paid millions of dollars. You deserve it. But to talk to me like that when I didn't even do what you are accusing me of, that's pretty hurtful. He writes back, Graham never asked you to pay, Ariel. He said, get on BT about the budget and you flew off the handlebars. Whether it came from me or someone else, you were asking to get paid, bros. And said you felt insulted. I have more of a right to be insulted when I have multiple people in weigh-ins today saying, do you see what Ariel's been saying about you? Again, you're going to believe the trolls with no backing, with no facts? All right, that convo you had with Graham was over text. Don't need to mention anything about it on any show. Well, now that we're airing things out there, I guess we are. I guess we are talking about things that happen behind the scenes. And then he adds, and it's not the first time you've been asked either. Come on, man. On my life, as I wrote here, on my kid's life, on my life, on my family's life, John Jones, Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz, Nick Diaz, anyone, name any single fighter, name any single name, I have never, on my life, the big man up there, strike me down right now if I'm lying, have been asked to get paid. Hinted, insinuated, but you're going to put that there, oh, it's not the first time, but I thought you guys didn't ask. We go back and forth. I say, show me the proof. There is no proof. And I left it at that. No conversation since July, which I'll get to in a moment. Now, Paddy returned in March. It came out that he made 12 and 12. I talked about it on this show. Go back to that clip. You can find it on YouTube. And everything that I said was in support of him. I said he deserves more. I said that he is the reason why that place was a sellout. He's the biggest star. He could have main evented. Go back to that on the nose. Everything I said was in support of him. I did say that his manager, Graham Boylan, is, in bed with the UFC, and he's got a conflict of interest. You got Cage Warriors on Fight Pass. You're not going to go to bat for your guys and ask for more or get into a war with them, a negotiation battle, because you got a conflict. You're a manager who also promotes. You're a manager who signs people to your organization and then funnels them to the UFC and then takes a percentage off of it. You're a manager who signs people to your organization and only lets them out of the deal if it's to go to the UFC. Just ask Bellator. Just ask the PFL. There's a lot of Cage Warrior guys who are interested in this PFL Europe deal. How many of them are going to get there? A lot of Bellator guys who are interested in fighting in Bellator overseas. How many are in there? Because there's a conflict of interest. And so the amazing thing is, in that clip, I was 100% supporting Paddy and his pay, but I guess he and his manager didn't like the fact that I was talking about their business, which at the end of the day is the job. You got to talk about the business. The same way people are talking about Aaron Judge today, making X amount of dollars, and he turned down this, and the Giants should have done that. That's the business of sport. That's why we talk about pay-per-views, and that's why we talk about big signings and all that stuff. That's why we're talking about Ronaldo going potentially to Saudi Arabia or Messi going to Inter Miami. Sport, business. And we all said Paddy deserves more. But perhaps this is a reason why he doesn't get it. The following week, Graham talked some shit about me on Twitter. I responded again. But again, go back to them facts. Not a single time do I shit on Paddy. In fact, I'm backing him. I'm trying to have his back. I'm trying to support him. But, hey, respect, loyalty. You got your guys back. I'm trying to tell you that you're getting screwed out of a deal here and you deserve a lot more. And the guy you're sitting in front of in that clip that we're playing sound from, he's profiting off of you and you deserve more and you're good, man. And you put in the time. But, I'm the piece of shit. I'm the dick. Let's keep going.
So true.
And he went on his MMA hour and talked about me and my manager. And then I ended up messaging him. They're going to have to bleep this out, but my first line was, "You're a cheeky you." Know what I mean?
Pause that. Went on the MMA hour in March. This is now 4 months later talking about his manager and the pay and supporting him for deserving more. He didn't message me after that. My next message from him is July. He's got his timeline and his facts all mixed up now. He told me I'm a cheeky cunt because of the McAfee thing, which again, I never referenced his name. I never insinuated. People put two and two together because they put out their clip of on Instagram, that little statement there about managers, about fighters should get paid to do interviews. This didn't happen as well. It's lie after lie after lie after lie. And again, I'm not going to resort to posting screen grabs, but you're either going to believe me, the guy who's batting 1,000 for 15 years strong as recently as Monday, or you're going to believe these two guys. Up to you. Whose reputation precedes them? Keep going, Frank.
And he didn't like it, but I was just me being honest. Right. You know what I mean? He was talking about me, saying that
never happened.
I can't believe fighters and managers have got the audacity to ask me for money.
Never used
Why
that.
Wouldn't we? You're a content creator.
Wait,
never used that.
Disappeared.
Pause that. Never said that. Never said audacity, this and that, but also never said his name. We've gone over this. Hopefully you get the point. Let's hear from Dana.
ESPN let him go.
Pause right there. We got to call this out, Frankie. Since ESPN let him go. Can you put up that Andrew Marchand tweet again, Alex, if you don't mind? Since ESPN let him go, because these guys are going to keep lying to build this into a truth. It ain't a truth. There it is. We thank Ariel for his many contributions to ESPN's MMA coverage and beyond. We had hoped to have him continue in that role and made him an offer to remain with ESPN. He chose to explore new opportunities, and we wish him the best. Dana will keep lying about this. It ain't the truth. The haters will keep lying about this. It ain't the truth. I had the fucking balls to walk away. And now doing stuff for... Oh, wait. Keep going.
See, nothing even pops up. I hear nothing about him. I see nothing about him. I literally don't even know that guy exists unless somebody brings him up to me.
Pause it. You don't know I exist because you have me blocked on every social media, and you've been doing that for a very long time because, like, you can't stand the site, just like, like you think like the sight of me is this horrible thing, just like when I was at ESPN and you would freak out when you would see me here on SportsCenter. You're like, use this guy instead, use that guy instead, don't use him here. That's why you don't see me. Again, have you heard of HBO Real Sports? Have you heard of BT, your partner? I know I don't do the UFC stuff for them, but it's pretty good. Pretty good stuff, I would say. Have you heard of this show? I think you have. I mean, how many followers on social media does MMA fighting have? How many do I have? How many on Twitter? How many subs on YouTube? Have you heard of The Ringer? I think you've been on Bill Simmons' show a couple times. BetMGM. Yeah, I think we're doing okay. But if you don't see my content, you don't see my content. I mean, that's on me. Don't believe that for a second. Another lie. But just want to reiterate, I think I'm still around. And I think we're still doing well. Got a couple other things in the oven, in the old oven. And we'll get to those. And I've turned down a few things as well. Again, not trying to pat ourselves on the back, but, it's important to respond to these lies, bold-faced lies. Please continue, Frank.
So yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and you're exactly right. He's a piece of.
Yeah, he is. He's a maggot. Yeah. And the worst thing about him is he goes on all his interviews. Dad, he pisses me off. He goes, I haven't got a horse in this race. Yeah, you have. It's called putting money in your pocket.
You're the horse in this.
You're the horse in this race.
They got me there, Frankie. Pause it. They got me there. They got me there. Trust me. Go back to when I was doing DC and Helwani. I said my favorite thing about doing this show isn't the rapport with DC, isn't the camaraderie. It's that I don't have to ask fighters to come on the show. But now I do an interview show, and so they have to come on. Do I give two shits if you don't come on? Do I care if you don't come on? No. I'm happy to have you, but I don't have a horse in the race. Does it affect me one way or the other if Ankalaev or Jan Blachowicz wins on Saturday? No. Oh, I'm the horse in the race? Why? How does it affect me if Jared Gordon beats Paddy or if Paddy beats Jared Gordon? It don't affect me. And by the way, I've never said that to any fighter before as well. It's all nonsense. And I've been talking about this for almost an hour now, way longer, longest first question in the history of first questions. But again, just trying to prove this is utter nonsense. They are chatting shit, as they say overseas. And I hope that you people, and I know there's not, there's going to be people out there who aren't smart enough, but I hope the majority of MMA Twitter and the people out there who watch this know that these two guys are chatting shit right now. Total, utter bullshit. I hope we've established that by now. But there's more. Don't worry. There's more. I just want to, kind of say that. Anyway, please continue, Frank.
Oh, yeah.
Know what I mean? Like when I messaged him about that time, he was like, Paddy, the other week when your Instagram got disabled, I was the one sharing it for you. I was like, yeah, to suck me ass. Yeah. So that the next time you ask for it.
Pause it, Frank. I just read you the entire fucking conversation. Where did we talk about Instagram? And if you want to know the truth about the Instagram, all the times that he's been banned off Instagram, he would always ask me. I don't know how to find old stories. I'm sure the smart people out there can, to give him a shout on Twitter, on stories, to get his followers back up. Did that because he asked me to. And I was like, yeah, sure. Go ahead. Follow this guy. It apparently means a lot to him. Never brought that up here. I don't know if how do you make up this shit? They're making up conversations now. I just read you verbatim all the conversations. Never brought that up. And if we want to bring that up, this dude asked me on multiple occasions to go out when he got banned to promote that he has a new handle because he got banned, to get his followers back up because he was heartbroken that he got his account closed. Another lie. I wish instead of the questions right now, we kept putting out the lies. I wish instead of the questions right now, we kept putting out the lies. And I wish instead of the question counter, we kept putting up, when Dana White wants to talk about my failures, we talk about his failures. Because that clock, that number would go up as well. How's Zuffa Boxing going? How's that boxing show, that reality show that you did? How's that going? How's the boxing manager career going? How's the Taibo career going? How's the surf career going? The Surf League show, all that stuff. Talking about everything that I do is a failure. Talking about me getting sacked. Anything that this guy has done outside of the UFC. Anything. Show me one. Maybe this slap league is going to be the one that hits because you'll get all the MMA media boys to cover it. Maybe that'll be the big hit. Or maybe this F It Friday thing will be the big hit. Maybe there's a deep desire to watch a 50-something-year-old man eat Cheeto pancakes. Maybe. I don't know. But up until this point, if it ain't involving the Fertittas or Endeavor, it ain't a hit. I can assure you of that. Keep going, Frankie.
Interview, I'd do it for you.
100%.
Know what I mean? Like, it pisses me off though. He pretends to be people's friends when he's not. He's a lizard.
By the way,
He's one of
pause it. I've said repeatedly on this show, the job isn't to become friends with fighters. That's not the job. That's when you get into trouble. Now, I'm a human being, and over time, I've been able to connect with fighters, and we make relationships. You know about those guys. You know about how I feel about the Cormiers. You know how I feel about the Kayla Harrisons. You know how I feel about the Dustin Poiriers and the GSPs and the Nathan Diaz's. You know how I feel about the Connors. You know how I feel about these guys and what they've meant to my career. But we don't go for lunch. We don't go for drinks. In fact, I've turned those down. I turned down when Dana White asked me to go to a concert prior to WC 48 in Sacramento to hang out with him because I didn't feel comfortable doing that. My job isn't to be a friend of a fighter. My job is to be a human being and to be compassionate and to text people when they're down and to text people. You know, I'm not going to talk about like, I'll just bring up like Dustin Poirier. I'm not asking for an interview right now, but I am checking in on him because I'm a human being, because I have a connection with these people, because we have some sort of relationship. Known the guy for over a decade. I see he's in the hospital. I'm not faking that. There's no reason to. If I was faking it, ask the fighters after their losses who I've reached out to, after the injuries, who I've reached out to, who I've sent support to. Just because that's what being a human being is. Why do I need to fake that? For what? I could just stick around and just ask them for interviews when I need something. There are some that do that, and they tell me about those people, and they tell me that when push comes to shove, when it's time to speak, they don't go to those people because they know all they want is something from them. I'm not that guy. And you could either believe me or you could go poll fighters over the past 15 years or however long it's been, 16 years. Ask them if I've been that guy, if I've turned my back on them, if I've stabbed them in the back, if I've been given information and released it when they told me it was off the record. Ask them if I've been that guy, if I've been that fake compatriot, friend. Or am I still here and they still come on and they still want to talk to me because I've treated them with respect? Keep going, Frank.
Slimiest, scummiest mother that you will ever come across.
It's got like 5 words in his...
I can't wait for this to get clipped out and go onto Instagram. You know?
He can't wait. Pause it. He can't wait because he wants the clout. He wants the attention for his show, which he's making money off of. Which he's making money off the views and clicks. I'm not. He can't wait. He can't wait. But you know what? Thank God I have 16 fucking years of doing this. Thank God I've been here all this time through all the ups and the downs. And thank God there is a fucking legion of people out there watching this right now, on Twitter right now, on Instagram right now, who have my fucking back, who have had my back since day one, who have voted me for 12 straight fucking journalists of the years. And hopefully we get number 13 tomorrow. Who have had my back when they tried to silence me, when they tried to ban me, when they tried to fuck me over with Showtime. Those people have my back. And just go look at, the people clipping this off today and go look at the majority of the replies, the vast majority of the replies. Go see if there's support because they know what's real. They'll sniff you out in a second if you're not real, if you're inauthentic, if you're a liar, if you're a cheater. They'll sniff you out. Still here, still getting support, still have people who have my back. And I would say that that number is growing because they know what's up. And I would say their numbers are dwindling. But that's fine. That's totally fine. You may think that, I'm the guy who's trying to do this and that. Listen to the people. Listen to the people. Look at the support. And I'm eternally grateful for that. And I see it because there's a moment where you can feel like, shit, are these people telling the truth? Am I who they are saying I am? Who they are saying I am? Who they say I am? You get it, right, Frankie?
Of course.
Just want to make sure you guys are still there. Anyway, no, I'm not because I see the support and it means more than you'll ever know. Please continue. I think we're almost done. Please say we're almost done.
Slimy, scummy little
How many times are you going to use the same term?
He really is. He really
Who are
is.
these people laughing?
I made up. I brought that
This is
up.
the best podcast I've ever been on.
Is that it?
That's it.
You know that GIF? GC's hip with this stuff. You know that GIF of Shawn Michaels? You know who Shawn Michaels is, the wrestler, and he's doing the go. You know that one?
Yeah.
I feel like that's what we just listened to right there. We listened to the audio version of that.
I mean, the laughing in the background's got to be
Who are those people?
It's got to be the corniest thing I've ever seen. It's a bunch of yes men behind the scenes.
Yeah. UFC yes man, I don't know who those people are. I don't even know what that setting is. But It's amazing to me to watch someone never talk about me, never say anything about me publicly like this. But when he's sitting in front of good old Dana, Uncle Dana, now he goes off. Wow, I wonder why. By the way, if you're wondering if I've ever had any interactions with Paddy since then, because I'm such a slimeball, because I'm such a scumbag, right? If you're wondering, there's only been one, and it's with him. It's not with Graham. Never spoke to Graham since. Only had one with Paddy. It was in July after his last win, July 24th to be exact. Sent it to him at 4:05 p.m. Here it is, and I will read it to you. Hey, Paddy, it's Ariel Helwani. First, I just wanted to send my condolences on the passing of your friend. My heart goes out to you, his friends, and his family. Remember, he talked about his friend committing suicide. Of course, second, congratulations on last night and all your recent success. You have earned it and deserve it. It's beautiful to see. I'm really happy for you and never doubted this would come your way. I hate what happened between us last year. I wish it never did. It really bums me out. Life is too short and I'm sorry it all happened. Not because I want anything from you, just I've always had love and admiration for you and what you represent. I wish we could go back to how it was, but alas. Respect to you and wish you nothing but the best. Much love, mate, Ariel. That's what I sent to him. That's what the slimy douchebag piece of shit rodent maggot said to him. And I got a message back some 13 minutes later. Thank you for the message and hope you and the family are well, fella, with a heart and with a fist bump. And then I wrote back, thank you, yours as well. That's what the maggot, that's what the rodent, that's what the slimy, that's what the motherfucker sent to him. Ask Dana White how much he checks in on his fighters, how many times he sends them messages like that. Why didn't they bring up that message? If Paddy never wants to come back on this show again, God bless, I hope he gets paid at $10 million from Barstool and everyone else. I hope he has a freaking massive mansion. I hope he has all the success in the world. I hope he wins 40 fights in a row. I hope he's the biggest star in the history of the UFC. Does it bum me out that this has happened, especially to a guy that I've known for a long time, that I've had in studio, that I feel like I've had his back through the good and the bad? Yeah, he and many fighters can be put in that category. But shit happens. People get in the way. Things are misconstrued. You know, we're two men. Maybe we should have got on the phone and talked it out back in November of 2021. Mea culpa. And that's fine. And you want to feel a certain way about me and my job and as a host and all that stuff, that is fine as well. But let this be a lesson to these two guys and to anyone else who talks about me. If you want to talk about me, tell the fucking truth. Because if you're going to lie like they did and like Brendan Schaub did and like others have in the past, I will come at you and I will respond. Because as I said last year, if you come at the king, you best not fucking miss. And so I will have more receipts. And there's more that I can say about Dana White. And I could tell you how everything that he said about me, he is that times 10. We'll save that for another day, for another story time. I wish you the best, Paddy. Right now, if you reached out to me and said, you know, the moment got to you, I would bury the hatchet. I believe that. Tomorrow, we may all die. This all might be over. I was at a funeral 6 days ago. Someone who passed away suddenly like that. Had many years left. This shit is not important. You guys are not important. When I say that, I mean them two guys, not the fans, not the audience. Life is important. Health is important. Family is important. Happiness is important. I ain't going to let these two guys ruin my day. But I'm also not going to let them lie about me. And so I hope you know by now that every single thing that they said in that 3-4 minute clip was a bold-faced motherfucking lie. A lie. Timeline, interactions, all of it was a lie. And if you could get paid for interviews, God bless. We ain't going to do it here. And we ain't going to do it on any show that I'm a part of. And if you don't know why, go talk to a journalism professor. Go talk to someone who teaches on the ethics of journalism and what journalism is and what it all is about. And if you don't believe that I'm that guy, fine. Call me a fucking content creator. I'll wear that badge very proudly. There are worse things that you can be called. Don't lie. Enjoy your career. Be happy. Do your thing. You're a role model to a lot of people. You put out this thing today about anti-bullying. Some foundation, some charity. feels to me like there was a little bullying going on in that clip, but I think that's tremendous. And I do actually believe that Paddy has a good heart. You see that clip of him. I believe this. Again, I still won't say anything negative about him as a human being, as a person. I won't call him these names. I believe he actually has a good heart. And I believe he stands for a lot of great things. I also believe he's a little hot-headed and he lets his emotions get the best of him. And there's a lot going on in his life and there's a lot of people in his ear. And he's talking to people who didn't know who he was a year and a half ago. And, you know, he's getting all fired up. Won't be the first, won't be the last. But the reason why I spent an hour and change today on the program to talk about this in the longest first question of all time, and I'm sorry for belaboring the point, was because I don't like liars. I don't like people who make shit up. And they did. Every single minute of that clip, every second of that clip was a lie.